The image of a priest is often one of piety, trust, and moral guidance. Priests stand as figures of faith, bound by a sacred duty to uphold truth and protect their flock. But what happens when that sacred role is betrayed? In the small town of Hudson, Wisconsin, such trust was shattered in the early 2000s when Father Ryan Erickson, a young and charismatic Roman Catholic priest, was implicated in a horrifying double murder. What began as a quiet investigation into the deaths of two men would eventually uncover a dark web of secrets, leaving the community reeling and questioning everything they thought they knew about their spiritual leader. This is the story of Father Ryan Erickson, a man whose outward devotion masked a chilling propensity for violence. Stay with us as we explore the events that led to one of the most shocking crimes in modern religious history, a case that would expose the deadly intersection of faith, power, and deception. Hudson, Wisconsin, is a picturesque town nestled along the banks of the St. Croix River. Known for its friendly atmosphere and tight-knit community, it seemed an unlikely backdrop for a violent crime. But in 2002, the town's serene image was forever altered. At the center of this story is St. Patrick's Catholic Church, where Father Ryan Erickson served as a priest. Erickson was young, passionate, and deeply involved in the lives of his parishioners. To many, he was the embodiment of what a spiritual leader should be. But beneath this veneer of devotion, Erickson harbored dark secrets. Those closest to him would later describe him as a man with a volatile temper, rigid views, and a disturbing tendency to impose his authority in unsettling ways. On February 5, 2002, tragedy struck when Dan O'Connell, a well-respected funeral home director, and his intern, James Ellison, were found shot to death in the offices of the O'Connell family funeral home. The discovery of their bodies sent shockwaves through the community. Dan O'Connell was known for his dedication to his family and his community. James Ellison, just 22 years old, was described as hardworking and kind. The brutal nature of their deaths left everyone searching for answers. At first, the police struggled to identify a motive. Both men were widely respected, and there were no immediate signs of a robbery or personal vendetta. The case quickly grew cold, with investigators unable to piece together why anyone would want these men dead. For 2 years, the double homicide remained an unsolved mystery. The lack of leads frustrated investigators, who feared the killer might never be brought to justice. It wasn't until 2004 that the case took a dramatic turn, thanks to a determined detective who refused to let the case go cold. In 2004, a tip led investigators to revisit their interactions with Father Ryan Erickson. Erickson had been one of the last people to see Dan O'Connell alive on the day of the murders. At the time, he had offered his condolences and cooperated with police, raising no immediate suspicions. However, as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered unsettling information about Erickson. Witnesses came forward, describing the priest as having a history of erratic behavior and a propensity for violence. Some parishioners reported feeling uneasy around him, particularly when he displayed an authoritarian demeanor. But what truly caught the attention of detectives was Erickson's relationship with Dan O'Connell. Investigators learned that O'Connell had recently confronted Erickson about allegations of inappropriate conduct involving minors. It was believed that O'Connell intended to report Erickson to the church hierarchy, potentially exposing the priest's dark secrets. This revelation provided investigators with a potential motive. Erickson may have murdered O'Connell and Ellison to silence them and protect his reputation. Armed with this new information, detectives brought Erickson in for questioning. During the interrogation, Erickson exhibited signs of nervousness and agitation. While he denied involvement in the murders, his answers raised more questions than they resolved. Shortly after the interrogation, Erickson took his own life, hanging himself in the rectory of St. Patrick's Church. His suicide added another layer of complexity to the case, leaving investigators without a confession but with mounting circumstantial evidence. Following Erickson's death, police continued their investigation, piecing together the events leading up to the murders. Forensic evidence, witness testimonies, and behavioral analysis all pointed to Erickson as the prime suspect. Ballistic evidence linked the weapon used in the murders to a firearm owned by Erickson. Additionally, several parishioners came forward with disturbing stories about Erickson's behavior, including instances of physical and emotional abuse. These revelations painted a chilling portrait of a man who used his position of power to manipulate and intimidate those around him. The Catholic Church faced intense scrutiny in the wake of Erickson's crimes. Parishioners struggled to reconcile the image of the priest they once revered with the monstrous actions he was accused of committing. Church officials issued statements expressing their sorrow and commitment to supporting the victims' families. However, questions lingered about whether the church had ignored warning signs or failed to take earlier allegations against Erickson seriously. The murders of Dan O'Connell and James Ellison, coupled with the dark revelations about Father Erickson, left an indelible mark on Hudson, Wisconsin. The community, once bound by faith and trust, was forced to confront the reality that evil can lurk even in the most sacred places. Families, friends, and parishioners found themselves grappling with grief, betrayal, and a profound loss of innocence. The Erickson case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of accountability within religious institutions. It underscores the need for transparency and the protection of vulnerable individuals from those who might exploit their positions of power. The story of Father Ryan Erickson is both tragic and cautionary. It reveals how trust can be manipulated, how power can be abused, and how silence can perpetuate harm. But it also highlights the resilience of a community determined to seek justice and rebuild. The case of Father Ryan Erickson is a haunting reminder of how trust and faith can be weaponized by those in power. Erickson's role as a spiritual leader made him a central figure in the lives of many in Hudson, Wisconsin. His charisma and position as a priest allowed him to influence and command respect within the community. Yet, behind the clerical collar and the comforting sermons lay a man capable of unspeakable violence. The brutal murders of Dan O'Connell and James Ellison marked a dark turning point for the town. What initially seemed like an unexplainable tragedy began to unravel as a tale of betrayal and hidden sins. The discovery that Erickson was likely trying to cover up allegations of inappropriate conduct added a chilling layer to an already horrifying crime. Forensic evidence, witness testimonies, and Erickson's own behavior during interrogation painted a grim picture of a man desperate to protect his secrets at any cost. The tragic end of his life through suicide robbed the victims' families of the opportunity to hear a direct confession or gain a full understanding of his motivations. Yet, even in death, the evidence left behind spoke volumes. This case also forced the Catholic Church to confront uncomfortable questions about its role in overseeing clergy and protecting its congregation. While the church issued apologies and offered support to the grieving families, many in the community were left wondering if more could have been done to prevent these crimes. Were warning signs missed? Could earlier intervention have saved lives? These questions linger, highlighting the importance of accountability within institutions of faith. The ripple effects of Erickson's actions extended far beyond the immediate circle of victims. The town of Hudson, once a symbol of small-town tranquility, was forever changed. Families who had placed their trust in Erickson grappled with the duality of his persona: the kind, approachable priest on the surface and the dark, troubled man underneath. On a broader scale, the case underscored the dangers of unchecked power within religious institutions. It served as a stark reminder that no position of authority, no matter how sacred, is immune to corruption. This lesson resonates in an era where trust in many institutions is being re-examined and accountability is increasingly demanded. But amid the darkness, the resilience of the O'Connell and Ellison families and the Hudson community stands out. They refused to let the case fade into obscurity, ensuring that justice was pursued even after Erickson's death. Their strength and determination serve as a beacon for other communities facing similar tragedies. In the end, the case of Father Ryan Erickson is a complex tapestry of trust, betrayal, and the pursuit of justice. It reveals both the depths of human depravity and the enduring strength of those who seek the truth. As we reflect on this case, it serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of vigilance, accountability, and the courage to confront the darkest corners of human behavior.